let's talk about something most men over 60 rarely bring up, but quietly think about. Something private, natural, and yet surrounded by silence and even shame: masturbation. For decades, it may have been a quiet companion, a way to release tension, connect with your body, or simply feel alive. But what happens when the same habits that once felt harmless, or even helpful, start to take a different toll after 60? Here's the truth. Your body isn't the same as it was at 30. Neither is your mind, your emotional world, or your energy. Yet many older men continue to approach self-pleasure as if nothing has changed. They ignore subtle signs, push through discomfort, or fall into routines that no longer serve them. And they don't talk about it because it feels embarrassing, unnecessary, or even shameful. But the consequences of these silent mistakes can be real. From physical strain and disrupted sleep to emotional disconnection and increased loneliness, the way older men engage in solo pleasure can quietly erode well-being if it's not done mindfully. This video isn't here to judge. It's here to support you with honesty, science, and compassion. We'll explore the most common masturbation mistakes men make after 60, why they happen, and how to gently shift into healthier, more fulfilling patterns. Because aging doesn't mean giving up pleasure. It means evolving how you relate to it. And when approached with care, this private act can become something deeper, a way to reconnect with your changing body, soothe your emotions, and rediscover dignity and joy in your sexuality. Let's talk about what no one else is saying. And let's do it with honesty, courage, and kindness. The silent shift: how aging changes sexual health. As you cross into your 60s and beyond, your body begins to speak a quieter language. The changes may be subtle at first: a slower response, a softer erection, a longer recovery time. But over time, these shifts become more noticeable. And if you're not listening, you might start pushing your body in ways that cause more harm than good. One of the biggest changes is in testosterone levels. This vital hormone, which fuels libido and supports erectile function, naturally begins to decline with age. Lower testosterone can lead to reduced desire, softer erections, and a need for more direct stimulation. Circulation also plays a major role. Erections rely heavily on healthy blood flow, and as arteries become less flexible with age, or if conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes are present, achieving and maintaining an erection can become more difficult. What used to take a moment might now require patience, gentleness, and more time. But it's not just physical. Emotional shifts happen too. After 60, many men face loneliness, the loss of a partner, retirement, or health challenges. These emotional weights can influence sexual energy in profound ways. Some men may feel less connected to their bodies. Others might use masturbation as a way to escape sadness or stress, without realizing that they're not meeting their deeper emotional needs. Understanding these natural shifts isn't about shame. It's about empowerment. When you know what's changing, you can make choices that align with your body today, not who you were decades ago. Your sexuality hasn't disappeared, it's simply evolving. And if you honor that evolution, it can become a source of comfort, strength, and even healing in this rich and reflective stage of life. Mistake 1: treating it like you're still 30. One of the most common mistakes older men make when it comes to masturbation is trying to relive their younger years, both in pace and intensity. They grip too tightly, move too fast, or try to force arousal instead of allowing it to unfold naturally. But here's the truth. Your body after 60 needs a different kind of care. More patience, more presence, and far less pressure. When you were 30, arousal may have come quickly, but after 60, your nervous system slows down. Your skin may be less sensitive. Erections may take longer to develop, and forcing stimulation the way you used to can lead to discomfort, soreness, or even small injuries, especially around the penis, pelvic area, or lower back. Some men don't even realize they're being too rough. They just want to get it over with, especially if the goal is simply release or sleep. But rushing through the process not only disconnects you from your body, it creates a cycle where pleasure becomes mechanical, not meaningful. And over time, this kind of stimulation can actually desensitize the nerves, making arousal harder to achieve in the long run. It's like shouting at your body when what it really needs is a quiet conversation. The key is to slow down, use lighter touch, focus on breath, set the mood just like you would for a partner. Turn it into a ritual, not a routine. You're not 30, and that's not a loss. It's an invitation to explore a new, more mindful way of experiencing pleasure. One that brings you not just relief, but also peace, connection, and respect for the body that's carried you this far. Because now, more than ever, you deserve that gentleness. Mistake 2. Overuse or dependence. In solitude, especially later in life, it's easy for a private habit to quietly become a daily ritual, then a crutch. Many older men, especially those living alone or dealing with boredom, stress, or emotional voids, begin to lean on masturbation not just for pleasure, but as a coping mechanism. Over time, what once brought comfort starts to steal energy, motivation, and even joy. Let's be clear, masturbation in itself isn't harmful. In fact, it can be a healthy and life-affirming practice. But when it becomes a substitute for emotional connection, daily movement, or purpose, it may be doing more harm than good. Overuse can sap energy and leave you feeling drained or unmotivated, especially if it becomes a repetitive habit done out of boredom rather than true desire. Some men report feeling empty afterward, or experience a lingering sadness that's hard to explain. That's your body and spirit signaling that something deeper might be missing. It's also important to recognize when masturbation becomes a way to avoid feelings. Grief, loneliness, frustration, or even fear of aging. In those moments, release may offer temporary relief, but the emotions themselves remain unprocessed and often grow heavier over time. Instead of relying on solo pleasure to fill the silence, ask yourself, what am I really needing right now? Is it connection, comfort, stimulation, expression? Sometimes what we're truly craving can't be solved through physical release. Sometimes it's a walk outside, a heartfelt conversation, or simply allowing ourselves to feel what we've been avoiding. Pleasure is part of life, but it shouldn't replace it. When you masturbate from a place of presence rather than habit, you reconnect with your body in a healthy, empowering way. And that's the kind of intimacy that doesn't fade with age. It deepens. Mistake 3. Ignoring emotional signals. Approximate 300 words. There's something that often goes unnoticed in the conversation around self-pleasure after 60, and that's the emotional undercurrent. Many older men have lived through decades of suppressing feelings. They were taught to stay strong, stay silent, and keep moving. But in the quiet moments, when the house is still, when the phone doesn't ring, when the days stretch long, it's easy to turn to masturbation not out of desire, but out of emotional avoidance. It becomes a way to muffle loneliness, to silence grief, to soothe anxiety. And while it may offer a brief escape, it can also bury what truly needs attention. Over time, this habit can deepen the sense of emotional disconnection, leaving you feeling more isolated than before. The body is wise. Sometimes it sends signals in subtle ways. Lack of arousal, tension in the chest, a sinking feeling after release. These aren't failures. They're invitations. Invitations to listen deeper, to ask, what am I really feeling? What part of me is asking to be seen, heard, or held? If you find yourself using masturbation as your only form of emotional relief, it's time to pause and reflect. You might be carrying grief that needs space, or sadness that deserves a voice. You may be longing for connection, meaning, or even a sense of being touched emotionally, not just physically. This doesn't mean you should stop pleasuring yourself. It means you should listen while you do it. Let your body and emotions speak. Hold yourself with tenderness, because the most damaging mistake isn't touching yourself. It's ignoring the person inside who's asking for more than just release. They're asking to be known, accepted, and loved even by you, especially by you. Mistake 4. Watching too much porn. In today's world, access to adult content is only a click away. For older men, especially those living alone or dealing with long stretches of unstructured time, pornography can become a convenient companion. Promises stimulation without effort, connection without vulnerability. But when used excessively, it can silently rewire your brain and harm your emotional and sexual well-being. Porn is not inherently evil. For some, it can even be part of a healthy fantasy life. But as you age, the brain becomes more sensitive to dopamine patterns, and porn delivers massive spikes of this feel-good chemical. The problem? Your natural dopamine baseline starts to shift. What once aroused you now barely registers. You may find yourself needing more extreme content, longer sessions, or greater stimulation to feel the same effect. This cycle doesn't just affect solo pleasure, it bleeds into real intimacy. Many men report trouble becoming aroused with a partner, or feeling emotionally numb after watching porn too often. It becomes a numbing agent, fast, easy, and emotionally distant. Worse, it can create an unrealistic script in your mind. Porn rarely reflects the slow, tender, vulnerable nature of real connection. It distorts expectations and can leave you feeling unsatisfied or inadequate, especially if your aging body can't perform the way it once did. So what's the alternative? Try exploring slower, more sensual stimulation without screens. Focus on the sensations in your body rather than visual fantasy. Consider using gentle touch, breath work, or even music and scent to engage more senses. Some men even explore erotic meditation or audio erotica, which stirs the imagination without overloading the nervous system. Pleasure after 60 isn't about chasing intensity. It's about rediscovering depth. When you unplug from the screen and reconnect with your body, you don't just find arousal, you find presence. And that's the kind of satisfaction no video can give. Mistake 5. Using it as a sleep aid. It's late. The house is quiet. Sleep won't come. So you turn to what has always worked. A quick release to help you drift off. And for many older men, this becomes a nightly ritual. But while masturbation can bring momentary relaxation, using it regularly as a sleep aid can quietly disrupt your natural rhythms and leave you feeling more tired in the long run. Here's why. After orgasm, the body experiences a brief period of relaxation, often followed by sleepiness. But if that becomes your only way to fall asleep, the brain begins to associate arousal with rest. Over time, this rewiring can interfere with your ability to sleep naturally, especially if the habit is rushed, forceful, or tied to watching stimulating content right before bed. Moreover, arousing yourself when you're not genuinely feeling sexual just to trigger sleep can leave you feeling disconnected and unsatisfied. It turns a moment of intimacy with yourself into a mechanical task, draining it of meaning and slowly dulling your sensitivity. There's also a hormonal impact. Frequent late-night masturbation can subtly affect your testosterone cycle, which naturally peaks in the early morning. Interrupting that rhythm may leave you waking up more groggy or less energetic over time. So what can you do instead? Focus on better sleep hygiene. Turn off screens an hour before bed. Take a warm bath. Practice gentle breathing exercises or meditation. If you still choose to engage in self-pleasure, do it mindfully and slowly, not just as a means to an end. Masturbation should be a gift to your body, not a sleep button to press. When it becomes something you do with care, not just out of habit, it can restore not just your rest, but your sense of calm, comfort, and connection. Mistake 6. Not considering heart health and medications. As we grow older, our bodies carry more history, medical procedures, prescriptions, hidden risks, and yet many older men still treat masturbation like it's a harmless activity requiring no thought or caution. But the truth is, after 60, your heart, blood pressure, and medications matter more than ever, even in something as private and personal as self-pleasure. Masturbation may seem like a low-risk activity, but it's still a form of physical exertion. It raises your heart rate, blood pressure, and muscle tension, even if just for a short while. For men with cardiovascular conditions, this can sometimes trigger chest discomfort, lightheadedness, or shortness of breath. These are not symptoms to ignore. Many men are also on medications that impact libido, erectile function, or arousal response, such as beta blockers, antidepressants, or diabetes medications. These drugs can make it more difficult to feel pleasure, or they may delay orgasm, leading to longer sessions and unintended strain on the body. Ignoring these warning signs, pushing through dizziness, tightness in the chest, or persistent fatigue afterward, is a mistake that could have real consequences. Sexual activity, even solo, should never leave you feeling worse. The solution isn't to stop. It's to adjust and listen. Talk with your doctor, yes, even about this. It might feel uncomfortable, but your health matters more than your pride. A good doctor won't judge. They'll guide. Choose positions that don't strain your back or chest. Use breathing techniques to stay relaxed. And if something feels off, stop immediately and seek medical advice. Your safety should always come before pleasure. When your body feels respected, it rewards you in return with peace, with vitality, and with the kind of pleasure that heals rather than harms. Because even in intimacy, your health is always the first partner. Mistake 7. Neglecting the power of touch beyond orgasm. Many older men have spent a lifetime focusing on one goal during self-pleasure: orgasm. Fast, intense, goal-oriented, a means to an end. But as you age, that destination-based approach can become limiting and even damaging. Why? Because it overlooks something essential: the healing, grounding, and emotional power of non-goal-driven touch. After 60, your body craves something different. Not just release, but presence. Not just climax, but comfort. And when you narrow your experience down to chasing orgasm, you miss out on the rich, layered world of sensation, relaxation, and connection that your body still holds. Touch doesn't need to be sexual to be meaningful. Placing your hands gently on your chest, your stomach, or thighs, just to feel warmth and contact, can be deeply calming. Stroking your skin slowly, breathing with intention, and exploring sensation without the pressure to perform. These practices reconnect you with yourself, not just physically but emotionally. And when you do choose to explore sexual touch, slowing down can actually enhance pleasure. It gives your nervous system time to awaken. It invites your imagination and sensitivity to return. It becomes an act of self-love, not self-performance. Many men have never learned to touch themselves with kindness, only urgency. But you can change that starting now. Create space. Dim the lights. Play soft music. Explore your body the way you would a beloved partner. Gently, curiously, patiently. You may be surprised by how much your body remembers, how much feeling is still alive when you stop rushing to the end and start embracing the experience. This is not about giving up pleasure, it's about expanding it, deepening it, turning touch into something sacred, healing, and human again. Because at this stage of life, presence is the new pleasure, and your body still longs to be met with grace, not just force. Mistake 8. Ignoring the importance of emotional intimacy. As we grow older, we often realize that emotional intimacy holds a deeper, more lasting form of connection than just physical pleasure. Yet many older men neglect the emotional side of self-pleasure, mistakenly treating it solely as a physical act. But what if we told you that true fulfillment and satisfaction in self-pleasure come from blending the physical with the emotional? After 60, many men experience shifts in their emotional landscape. Some might face feelings of loneliness, grief, or the weight of past relationships. Masturbation may start as a way to cope with those feelings, a form of self-soothing. But the problem arises when it's done without emotional awareness. When the emotional intimacy we crave is absent, whether with a partner or with ourselves, the experience feels shallow, disconnected, and fleeting. This isn't about being too emotional or overthinking. It's about creating a connection with yourself that's not just physical. Emotional intimacy can be a gateway to deeper pleasure and satisfaction. When engaging in self-pleasure, it can be helpful to create an emotional context for the experience. Start by checking in with yourself. How do you feel today? What do you need? Relief, connection, tenderness. Allow yourself to acknowledge emotions like sadness, longing, or even joy before you begin. Accept these feelings without judgment. They don't make you weak. They make you human. If you're feeling particularly lonely or disconnected, use your touch to bring comfort, not just release. Imagine yourself as both the giver and receiver of kindness. Think about what it would feel like to be held emotionally by someone who truly understands you, and offer that to yourself. When you let emotional intimacy merge with physical pleasure, you transform the act from a solitary release into a moment of self-compassion and healing. That's the true power of connection, and it's something you deserve now more than ever. Mistake 9. Not exploring new ways to connect with your body. As we age, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that our bodies don't change, or worse, that they no longer matter in the same way they once did. But nothing could be further from the truth. The body is always evolving, always capable of new experiences, and always worthy of exploration. Even as we grow older, one of the most important changes to make after 60 is shifting the way you connect with your body. Masturbation doesn't have to be a routine or a habit you've fallen into. It can become a path to reconnecting with yourself, both emotionally and physically. Many men, especially after experiencing challenges like sexual dysfunction or physical changes, often avoid exploring different ways of engaging with their bodies. Perhaps they think they know it all or feel too disconnected from their bodies to try something new. This is where you miss out on the beauty of rediscovery. By trying different techniques, whether it's through gentler touch, new erotic exploration, or simply breathing more deeply during the act, you open up new pathways of pleasure and self-awareness. For example, experimenting with mindfulness practices or focusing on slow, deliberate sensations instead of rushing towards climax can completely transform your experience of intimacy with yourself. You may even find new erogenous zones that you didn't know existed. Also, don't be afraid to combine other forms of sensory experiences. For example, use scented oils or soothing music to enhance your session. Lighting, touch, and sound can all be powerful tools to deepen the connection you have with your body. Incorporating these practices brings an element of adventure and wonder back into self-pleasure, rekindling the spark of curiosity about your body's responses. Aging doesn't mean your body is finished. It means it's ripe for rediscovery, and embracing that can reignite a sense of vitality and connection you may have thought was lost. Mistake 10. Comparing yourself to your younger self. As we age, it's natural to reflect on the past, our younger selves, the vitality we once had, and the way our bodies responded with ease. But one of the most damaging mistakes older men make when it comes to self-pleasure is constantly comparing their present experience to their younger years. This comparison can lead to frustration, disappointment, and a sense of inadequacy. When you were younger, your body may have been more responsive. Erections came quickly, orgasms were intense, and recovery was swift. But now, you might find yourself needing more time, patience, or different types of stimulation. This is not a loss. It's an evolution. The fact that your body has carried you this far is something to honor, not mourn. Constantly measuring your current sexual experiences against your past can foster a sense of failure or frustration. You might think, why isn't it the same as it used to be? Or, I don't feel the same level of pleasure. But this kind of thinking overlooks the incredible value of your body right now, in this stage of life. What worked then doesn't necessarily work now, and that's okay. Instead of focusing on what's changed, start embracing what's different. Your experience of pleasure at 60 or 70 can be just as fulfilling as it was in your 30s, but it requires a shift in perspective. This is about embracing the newness of your body, not judging it. Your experiences of touch, sensation, and intimacy now may be more subtle, more nuanced, and more emotionally rich. You may even discover new layers of pleasure and fulfillment that you never knew existed. The goal isn't to recapture your past. It's to celebrate your present. Your sexuality at 60 and beyond isn't a shadow of what it once was. It's an invitation to explore pleasure in a more mindful, expansive way. And that, in itself, is deeply powerful. Building a healthier solo practice after 60. As we grow older, the way we approach self-care and intimacy evolves, especially when it comes to solo practices. For many men over 60, there's a unique opportunity to shift away from old habits and build a healthier, more mindful approach to self-pleasure. It's about finding balance, nurturing the body, and embracing new ways to connect with yourself. A healthy solo practice can enhance your emotional well-being, foster self-love, and even improve physical health. Here's how you can start building a healthier solo practice after 60. The first step in building a healthier solo practice is to shift your focus from simply achieving orgasm to connecting with your body. As we age, our sexual needs and desires may change, but the need for physical and emotional connection remains just as important. Take your time during the experience and focus on touching gently and slowly. This creates space to explore the sensations in your body without rushing toward a destination. It's about honoring your body, learning what feels good, and staying present. By shifting away from the idea that sex and self-pleasure is a goal-oriented act, you can deepen your connection with yourself, making it a more rewarding and holistic experience. Incorporating mindfulness into your solo practice can deepen the experience, making it more fulfilling and nourishing. Before you begin, take a few moments to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Focus on your breath, allowing yourself to be fully present in the moment. This can calm the nervous system, reduce stress, and help you tap into a deeper sense of relaxation. The goal is not just physical release, but also emotional and mental peace. Engaging in a mindful practice allows you to experience greater awareness of how your body feels, whether it's the texture of your skin, the sensation of touch, or the rhythm of your breathing. This attention to detail can transform self-pleasure from a mechanical task into an enriching experience. As you age, your body's response to touch may change. Instead of viewing this as a limitation, Embrace it as an opportunity for discovery. Experiment with new techniques or introduce different forms of sensuality, such as using oils, soft fabrics, or even listening to soothing music. Sensory exploration can awaken new parts of your body, creating a more fulfilling and holistic experience. Don't be afraid to try new positions or different environments to see what feels right. The more you explore, the more you'll discover how to nurture and honor your body in ways that feel good today. Pay attention to how your body feels. If something doesn't feel right, don't push through it. As we age, physical discomfort can sometimes accompany self-pleasure, especially if there are underlying health conditions. Be gentle with yourself, and don't hesitate to consult a doctor if needed. The goal is a practice that's not only pleasurable but also healthy. If you feel soreness, discomfort, or any sense of tension or strain, give yourself permission to pause or adjust. It's important to honor your body's signals and make changes when necessary. Taking care of yourself includes respecting your limits. Finally, building a healthier solo practice after 60 is about emotional connection, not just physical. Take the time to acknowledge your emotional needs, whether it's feeling loved, cared for, or simply being at peace with yourself. Practice gratitude and self-compassion, remembering that the relationship you have with yourself is the most important one. Embrace the full experience of being human, the joys, the fears, the desires, and treat yourself with kindness, whether in moments of pleasure or moments of solitude. Emotional intimacy can add another layer to your solo practice. Instead of viewing self-pleasure as simply a physical act, allow it to become a ritual of self-love. You might even incorporate affirmations or mindfulness practices into your routine to foster deeper connection and relaxation. As you embark on your healthier solo practice, it's important not to compare yourself to the person you were in your youth. Your body may not respond the same way it did 30 years ago, and that's okay. The goal is not to replicate the past, but to appreciate the present. Your body today is still worthy of care and connection. In fact, it carries the wisdom of a lifetime. Embrace this stage as a time of deepening your connection with yourself, rather than clinging to past expectations. By embracing these principles, you can create a solo practice that is not just about pleasure, but about healing, self-awareness, and growth. A healthier, more mindful approach to self-pleasure can enhance your overall well-being and contribute to a more fulfilling life after 60. Remember that this practice is about honoring your body, learning to respect its needs, and finding new ways to enjoy life's pleasures in this new chapter. The way you connect with your body is an ongoing journey of discovery, one that doesn't stop with age. Your body deserves attention, care, and love at every stage of life. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue exploring ways to build healthier habits, embrace self-love, and live life with vitality after 60. Stay tuned for more content that will support you on this journey of self-care and well-being.